Hello everyone, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today I thought we could do a get ready with me featuring the Aspyn Ovard palette that was a limited edition palette Tarte came out with years ago and has recently come back with. And as of when I'm filming this video, this palette is still available. It is an eyeshadow and blush and highlighter palette. Before I get to that though, let's go ahead and do the rest of my face. I already have primed. I used the First Aid Beauty Coconut Skin Smoothie Priming Moisturizer. Let's do foundation. I'm going to use my Believe Beauty foundation, which is one I'm trying to finish this year. So I wanted to talk a little bit about a trend that I have noticed a couple of brands doing that honestly gets me a little excited, and I hope that brands continue to do this, and that is bringing back old favorites, even if it's for a limited time. Urban Decay did it when they brought back the original Naked palette. Now granted, that was back for a very short time, but you know, they did do it. Anastasia Beverly Hills kind of did it. They brought back 9-pan versions of the Sultry palette and the Modern Renaissance palette. I wish that they had brought back the full version, gotta be honest. I was tempted by that little palette, but it just wasn't the same with those extra shades missing. But you know, they kind of did it. And now here Tarte is doing it again with the Aspyn Ovard palette, which kind of gives me hope for some other limited edition things that came out in the past. Like, are other brands gonna realize that people are nostalgic, that they perhaps had a favorite makeup item that they used up completely and they would love to get another one? Who knows? I would love, personally, like the number one comeback that I want to see is the Master Palette by Mario. That might be weird and hard to do now that Mario has his own brand, because that was a collaboration with Anastasia Beverly Hills. But you know, maybe they could figure it out. How fun would that be? I'm going to use the NYX Bear With Me concealer. I'm trying to use this concealer more often. And truth be told, it is a gorgeous one, and I accidentally used a full pump, which is enough to cover 2 of my faces. Like totally. So I'm just gonna try and get it just a little bit. I accidentally wasted a bunch here today. So anyway, if brands are going to start coming out and re-releasing old limited edition things, what are some of the things that you are looking forward to? Or I guess I shouldn't say looking forward to, things that you would like brands to do in that regard. I'm trying to remember which brand it was. This was a product that came out before I was even into makeup, but it was the most glorious highlighter packaging I'd ever seen. It might have been from YSL, I don't know, but it was like a flower, or maybe it was Smashbox. I'm just gonna quick swipe some $1 billion brow tinted brow gel through my brows. Let's throw in some bronzer. I'm gonna use the RMS Redimension Hydra bronzer in the shade Beachwalk Betty. I get questions a lot from people about which brush I use. Apparently, sometimes people have trouble getting this to pick up. I actually use a really inexpensive brush for this. I use the e.l.f. complexion brush. It is a wonderful bronzer brush because it's so fluffy, and I feel like I can make sure it's not too concentrated in one area with a nice fluffy brush like this. So I usually pick up about that much. Hopefully you can see it's not too concentrated on the brush. And then just fluff it on. I feel like it's so easy to control this way. Someone gifted me a whole bunch of really nice brushes, including one from BK Beauty, which is one of the brands I've been wanting to try. And so this is one of the Angie Hot and Flashy brushes, which again, like very, very popular brushes. But this is the A507, which is people use this for blush and bronzer. And I've got to be honest, it's so soft and dense, it doesn't actually work for all formulas. So I can see why, like, even if you have really nice brushes, why sometimes it won't work to pick up some of these more kind of baked gelée formulas especially. Now, I'm always very light-handed with my bronzer, so I'm just going to stop here. I'm not adding any more. I'm just making sure everything's nice and blended. Okay, so now we can finally get to this palette. Let's peel off the little thingy together. It's always the best part. The way that this is set up, it's making it awkward to hold on to while I do that. Let's try it from this side. Yeah, this will make it easy. Here we go. So I had a comment from somebody who, this is very reflective. It's gonna be difficult to show you this without showing you also my phone that I'm recording on. But I had a question from somebody wondering if this is similar shades to the original one. I didn't have the original one. But I must say that looking at how it just looks in person, it doesn't look nearly as warm as it looked online, which is a good sign. We were all a little worried that it was going to be a little bit orange. But let's do some swatches. So first of all, here's the blush and here's the highlighter, which, Holy Hannah, I don't think I have used a Tarte highlighter before. This is a very, very intense highlighter. I'm gonna make sure and just use a very gentle hand with that one. Everything has that really nice vanilla scent that Tarte puts in their powders and their eyeshadows. Okay, let's swatch the eyeshadows. They all feel very creamy. Here is Brilliance, Unbothered. Ooh, that's a nice shade. Endless Summer, Mother, Heart of Gold, Road Trip, Single Life, Tea Time, and Wanderlust. Okay, that was lovely. So the mattes are very, very creamy, and swatching it with my fingers, there was actually quite a bit of kick up, but the powders themselves felt very creamy. I'm very much looking forward to trying this. And you know, this is definitely a palette for a neutral lover. So for me, I think this is absolutely glorious. I cannot wait to do a variety of looks with this. But you know, if this looks boring to you, obviously you would want to skip this palette. Before we get to eyeshadow, I really want to try this blush. So this blush is called Major Blush. Again, I'm going to use a e.l.f. brush. This is just called the Blush Brush. Lots of kick up in the pan. Great shade for my skin tone. They do have pictures of different models with different skin tones wearing this palette on the website, but I noticed they were modeling the eyeshadows, not so much the blush. So something to keep in mind if you have skin deeper than medium, I would say. I had someone ask me in a comment why I put blush so close to my eyes. I actually think that when you only put it here, there's actually kind of a line right here where it's like it's extra pale, and it kind of can just look stark, where if you blend it right there, I feel like it looks much more natural. Same way by blending it up a little bit on my temples, I feel like it just looks more natural that way. So to keep it light-handed with the highlighter, I am going to use a fan brush. I don't make like a straight line when I use a fan brush. I tend to kind of actually buff it like this, and since the fan brush has so few hairs, it makes it very, very, just a light kiss of highlighter, you know, which is often what we're all going for. So I'm just gonna brush it on like that. Oh yeah. It has lots of shine. I definitely could have picked up less. Oh, that would make actually a very pretty eyeshadow as well. I'm just gonna put a little bit on my brow bone. That's beautiful. I was watching someone else try on this palette, and she was talking about how she just doesn't ever wear highlighter anymore, and I was over here like, oh girl, I do. Not because it's necessary. We all agree highlighter is unnecessary. I just like it. Yeah, that's a very noticeable highlighter, but I actually wouldn't call it icy. It's got enough of a color to it to where it's not like that kind of stark white color, you know? All right, I have not even considered what I want to do for the eyeshadow. Some of these very light mattes actually swatched a little bit deeper than I expected. Talking about this one and this one. I'm gonna start with this light one here, the shade Mother. Oops, I forgot to put on eyeshadow primer. Oh well. Be trying this on a bare eye today. For whatever reason, I have been forgetting to do that more and more, and I have been noticing my eyeshadows creasing more, so eyeshadow primer definitely is a must for me. But you know, I'm not going anywhere and doing anything today, so I don't mind if my eyeshadow creases today. Yeah, that, even though it's a very light shade, it's actually more pigmented than I expected. It's a very nice, subtle shade, actually, for laying down a base for me. I know I said it already, but I'm gonna say it again. These shadows have a lot of kick up, so be prepared for that. It doesn't bother me, just quite noticeable with this palette. Okay, now I'm gonna deepen it up with the shade Unbothered, just deepen it up slightly in the crease. I really enjoy layering mattes to slowly build depth. And I'm just kind of putting that like right into my crease. Okay, now I'm gonna switch brushes. I'm gonna get one that's a little bit more flat, and I'm gonna use the shade Tea Time. I'm honestly very tempted to keep my eye look completely matte today. Oh, that's very nice. The way that's laying down, I love that. I'm gonna take an even smaller flat brush and use this deeper shade called Road Trip. That was this one, just to darken up the very outer corner. These mattes are really, really nice to work with. I haven't had a single issue. Like really, really nice to work with. I have one other Tarte palette that is very nice. I think these eyeshadows are nicer. Okay, again, I'm very tempted just to use the shade Single Life and keep everything really matte, but I want to try out one of the shimmers. So let's use the shade Brilliance, which was the lightest one. And this one might actually be more satiny versus a true metallic. Yeah, very nice. Ooh, I love that. I use my finger for that one. Let's try it with a brush. Works very nicely. I think I still prefer it with the finger though. I'm gonna use a little pencil brush and go into the shade Unbothered for the lower lash line. And briefly into the shade Road Trip, just for the very outer edge, to kind of finish the shape of the eye right there. This is one of those palettes where I feel like I can dive right into the mattes. Sometimes I feel like I have to be super careful, and these just blend so lovely that I am feeling just very confident with these mattes. All right, I'm just gonna take a big fluffy brush that has nothing on it and just kind of go around all the edges to make sure that everything is blended nicely. I am really pleased with how this is looking. Okay, I'm gonna finish off with some mascara and something on the lips, and then we can talk a little bit more about the palette. You guys know I'm always testing a new mascara. For the month of March, I'm testing the L'Oreal Double Extend Tubing Mascara. So it comes with a primer and then the tubing mascara. So far, this hasn't been my very favorite, but I feel like tubing mascaras, more than any other mascara, sometimes just needs to be open for a little while before they really are the best that they can be. So I'm gonna keep trying it. Ooh, I think that actually is the nicest I've gotten it to look so far. So maybe it just needs to be open for a little while. So far I've had it open for about a week. Okay, I finished with the mascara. Again, I think it's looking pretty good today. And then I finished off my lips with the Milani Color Fetish Hydrating Lip Stain in the shade Rose Rising. All right, thoughts about this palette. Obviously, not for everybody. It's probably not gonna go for every skin tone, and it's definitely for someone who likes neutrals. You have to not mind eyeshadows that have kick up and vanilla scented eyeshadows as well. At the same time though, I'm actually kind of enamored. The tones in this are really, really spot on, which is not always the case. And I do think I am seeing why this was a favorite of many people, including we all love Mel Thompson. When I look at this palette, I think of her. If you haven't heard of Mel Thompson, she was a lovely, lovely beauty YouTuber. She did pass away a few years ago, and this was one of her favorites. In fact, I remember seeing this on her channel where there was big, big, big deep pans and like all the shades because she used up this palette. And I think I can see why she enjoyed it so much. For me, this was a great choice. If you have the original and you've already got this, you have to let us know down in the comments if the shades are the same, if the formula is the same. We're all very interested to know, so as I can take out my headband. Thank you so much for joining me today and for watching all the way to the end of the video. This is always where I share my tea of the day, and today I am drinking jasmine tea, specifically Jasmine Dragon Pearls. There's lots of brands that have this type of tea. This particular one was gifted to me though from an actual shop. I don't think it's available online. If you have a favorite place to get your Jasmine Dragon Pearls, let me know. I'm always up for trying another version because I love it. I hope that you all have a wonderful day. I'll see you again very soon in the next one. Bye.